Good morning, Stampers. Today I'm going to show you how we did this cute little tag front on this card and trying to make the flowers match and stamping, overlay, stuff like that. Sometimes it can be difficult when you're trying to, if you just put this piece of paper over that piece of paper and stamp, you're going to get a little gap because it's not level. So what I did, because I want to get this flower stamped first, is I used some plain old cut right wax paper, your garden variety wax paper. And all I'm going to do is, this is where I want my flower to be, right here. This is Whisper White. It's already cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And we're just going to stamp the background image first. And I'm using Cantaloupe, overstamped with Strawberry Slush. Now this is two-step stamping. We've done this before. This is not a new technique. We are using the Stippled Blossoms stamp set, and I've already, you notice I mounted them exactly the same on the block, so it's a little bit easier to line everything up. So I want the flower to be right about here. So I'll go ahead and stamp that with the Cantaloupe. And then I'm going to overstamp it with Strawberry Slush. And I got it just where it should line up, just almost perfectly with the other stamp set. You just hold it basically straight like we did the other. Okay, and that looks pretty lined up. Okay, now I want my tag, and if you want to make a border around your tag like we did for this one, you just cut your 2-inch piece and your 2-inch piece, and then go back and trim off to make this like 1 7/8, so that you have a little small border on each side. Just cut down and down. This overall length of this piece is 3 3/4, and this one's 4. And that way it'll be lined up like that. And I did take my hole punch, my regular 1/4-inch hole punch, and opposite of this little hump here, I made another punch like that, so that when I do overlap them, I'll have a big enough hole to stick my ribbon through. So now we want to stamp this little Whisper White card piece. And I'm going to take my little handy dandy piece of wax paper and lay over my design so I don't mess it up. And I want it to be right about there. There we go. So I'll ink up my Cantaloupe again. Stamp it up. Please bring back the stamping spots. I say that every time just in case somebody from there's watching. And that way I just line my stamp back up with where it was there. And try not to touch your wax paper with your hands or anything, because it's, you know, the ink's not going to soak into the wax paper, so you want to get this process done before you start touching anything. Okay, and I'm just going to pull that out and toss it in the trash. And our flower lines up great. So that's our quick little tip on how to do masking when you don't want to have that little ridge that's going to happen whenever you lay 2 pieces of cardstock on top of each other. Because the cardstock, even though this is Whisper White and very thin, it does have a thickness. We'll mount those 2 pieces together, stamp our leaves, and they're just double stamped with pistachio pudding. Stamped one time with the background and the other time on top. Not a lot of difference in the color. I didn't want them to be the focus, the flowers the focus. We mounted 2 pieces of Designer Series paper to the white, Whisper White piece, and then trimmed the paper. It's a lot easier just to put it on there, get it taped down, and then go back and trim off the edges so that you got a nice smooth edge. I would probably go back and sponge this daffodil just to make it stand out a little bit more against the white. And then we used the Happy watercolor to put some dots in with Strawberry Slush and pistachio, and it's stamped with Happy Healing. It's matted on a piece of Strawberry Slush on a daffodil cardstock base. Very simple little card, a little piece of the pistachio stretchy ribbon, or if you have, it's cute with the yellow or with the pink, any of them, any ribbon would be fine. You could even add some more bling, put some rhinestones maybe on these little watercolor dots or some rhinestones in the flower. But that's how we did our little tag and how we did our overlay stamping. Happy stamping!